Okay, so this is going to be the first video of my YouTube channel. My name is Mark. On this channel and in these videos, I'm going to be explaining how to do some minor home improvements. I'm going to show you how to do some work on your cars, trucks, RVs. We'll do some things around the house, some things on the computer. There's a lot of things that we're going to go over the way I do it. This channel is not necessarily for people who know how to do these things, but for people who just so far haven't been able to take that leap and go out there and take on some of these projects themselves. So hopefully I can give you some encouragement. I can show you some ways of doing things the way that I do it. Some people may have a different way of doing it, but they can comment down in the bottom and maybe we'll all learn something. It's good to learn something every day. So on this first video, I'm going to be showing you how to freshen up a room, repaint the room, going to fix some blemishes on the walls, clean it up really good, and make some minor changes. And you'll see that the room will feel much better to you. Maybe it'll feel like a new room. It'll feel fresh to you. So in this first video, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some very minor drywall work, repairing some minor bad spots on the wall, and we'll be progressing from there. The videos will get a little more deep into some things after that, after I get a little more comfortable making videos and I get a little more comfortable editing the videos. They're a little bit hard to edit. I didn't realize that they were going to be that difficult to edit. So first video, it's going to be pretty simple, pretty minor repairs that just about anybody could do. So I hope you'll watch, and I hope you'll continue to watch. Okay, the first thing you're going to need to start out this freshen up job we're going to be working on is a screwdriver, and if you have a power tool to go along with it, sanding block or just a piece of sandpaper, and a scraper. That'll get us started. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is go around the room and remove any plates. Any plates that need to be removed. Go ahead and get all those off. Honestly, I prefer on the plates to just use a screwdriver, but I had this handy. Actually, a screwdriver is better at this. You're gonna need a standard screwdriver for most of them. Take this off, just 2 screws. Now, one thing you're gonna hear me repeat a lot in these videos is that this channel is for people, particularly for people who have never attempted any jobs like this. Maybe they're just not confident enough, they have no idea how to do it, and they haven't attempted to do anything like this. If you know how to do these things and you see that I'm doing them wrong, sure, put it in the comments down below, but the channel and the videos are not really intended for you. Certainly, I want you to watch the video and like and subscribe, but that's not the purpose. The intended audience is people who have never done this type of work and don't know how to do it or don't have the confidence to do it. So these videos are for those, and if you're watching it and you see that I'm doing something wrong, certainly list it in the comments, so that maybe we'll all learn something else. But maybe the channel's not really intended for you. And with that, let's we'll keep going. Now on this one here, I've already completed this work. The parts in the video that you're going to see later on, I actually performed last week, and now I'm going back and making a video to start the process out. That footage started with I was just holding the camera with my phone. I didn't have a tripod. That footage was so bad that it's not even usable. So I'm actually going back and creating this to add to that footage that was recorded last week. So what we're going to do is pull all of these off like I just did. Now this switch here is actually going to get it's going to be a project later on that we will film. And this plug will also. And if you're interested, please subscribe, and you'll be notified when I post new content, and you'll get to see these processes as they go. Because this switch, this plug I don't like here, but I do need the power that is in here for device. Right now it's just plugged in, kind of permanent. This plug is gonna go down lower in the wall. This is going to be permanently wired into the system down there. When this wall was put up, this switch was put too close to the door frame. Actually, it's an opening now, and the switch plate has to be cut off in half. It's too close. Now, the reason I didn't wire this in directly and fix this plug when I installed this is because the other side of the wall has paneling on it. Now, I went through the house and removed all the wooden paneling that was in the house, and I've replaced it with drywall. And this is the only wall in the house on the other side of here, and on the wall adjacent. The only places in the house that have not been replaced. So as soon as that wall comes down on the other side, and actually I think all of this is going to come down, and I'm just going to replace both sides with new drywall. I've insulated the whole house, and this doesn't get insulation on its inside wall, but the paneling will be taken off, and the new drywall will be put up. That's going to be a project that I will document, and it'll be probably in about 2 months. So that's when this will get moved, and this will get moved. But back to what we were doing. Take all your switch plates off, take all your wall plates off, anything that would be in the way of paint or some drywall mud. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go around the room with a scraper and scrape anything that's not flat. Any little divot, and just as much as you want to do. You want to do as much as you can possibly do. As clean as you can get it. You want to get it. You want to get as much off, as much as you want to, as much time as you want to take to do it. Scrape off any hairs that have gotten into the wall that came from a dirty roller, possibly a dirty roller from a paint roller. A lot of these cheap rollers you get, when you get them, they're full of lint, and if you don't shake them out really good, that lint inside the roller gets embedded in the paint, and then you have a really bad looking wall forever. That's part of what we're removing, is that we're going to be removing all those inconsistencies, all that lint, little pieces of drywall that were hung up in the mud, just bad spots in the drywall over the years. Some people have a bad habit of not even cleaning the walls or baseboards or cobwebs before they paint. What happens is that gets embedded in the roller, and that roller spreads it out along your wall, and the paint sticks it in for eternity. And there you are, you have that. So that's what we're doing today, is getting rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to change the wall plates. We're going to make sure when we come back with it, we're coming back with new wall plates. If the old ones are good and you're happy with them, sure, keep them. But this is a chance to come back with new, clean wall plates. And if you have wall plates, you say, oh, there's nothing wrong with them, but they have 20 years of different colors of paint on them, get rid of them. Chuck them, get rid of them, throw them away. You do not believe how much better it will make your room look if you replace all these wall plates with new, clean wall plates. Now also at the same time, if you are up to it, if you know how to do it, if you buy the proper replacement switches and plugs, this is a good time to change those out. Now I'll also be doing a video on changing those out. It's not going to be in this job, but I will be posting that. But this is a good time to change out those plugs and switches with new ones. A lot of times those plugs and switches get covered in paint also. And that makes the job look terrible, makes the room look terrible. And what we're wanting to do is pay attention to all these little details, all these little things that if you take care of them, you clean them, you paint them, you change them out, you're going to feel like you have a new room. It's going to feel like an addition to your house. So if you feel like it, if you know how to do it, or if you can get a book, try to watch somebody else's YouTube channel. They'll show you how to replace wall plates, the wall plugs and switches. If you know how to do it, you have a friend that knows how to do it, or call an electrician to do it, right? You know, it's easy to do though, and almost anybody can do it. How you doing, sweetie? That's Ayla. That's my dog. You'll be seeing her in a lot of videos. Okay, so like I say, this is the time to change switches and plugs if you're capable of doing it. It'll make a big difference. Also, these plugs, if you replace them now with the plugs that have USB outlets, you can do away with all those charger boxes, because you can plug things directly into those USB charger points. You can just plug your cord to your phone into there and plug your phone directly into it. It is so much better than having all those boxes everywhere. Okay, so we're going to take all of these off. We're going to scrape off anything in the whole room, any inconsistencies. We're going to take everything off the walls. Everything off the walls. Pictures. It's a perfect time to clean all of those wall hangings. Windex everything. If you don't use Windex, whatever you use. Clean the glass. Get all the dust off these things, wipe the backs down. Now's a good time to get all this stuff down and cleaned. Scrape the walls. Then, after you scrape the walls, also you want to take down any blinds in the room. If you can get them down, if you know how to get your blinds down, or possibly you may be able to paint around them. Depends if you're going to do your paint the trim without taking the blinds down. But if you're going to do the actual window, the inside of the window seal, you'll need to take the blinds down. So let's get everything down off the walls. Scrape everything off. Take the wall plates off. Scrape all the little minute. See, here's one here. I missed that one. I'm sure you can't see it, but I missed that because I've completed this job already. I've missed that one. So I will take care of that. Here's another one there. You see how easy that is? See how easy it is to miss those things. And I could have put this right back on here when I just repainted. There's a possibility that my roller picked that up and put that right back down this time around. So let's get those things done, and we're gonna move on. After you do the sanding and the scraping, we're gonna do the sanding and the scraping. One thing I want to talk about is vacuum cleaner. We'll make sure I talk about the vacuum cleaner. Now this is a special type of vacuum cleaner. This vacuum cleaner uses water as a filtration. Ayla's being bad this morning. She keeps thinking she hears her mother, but she's not here. So this vacuum cleaner uses water as a filtration system. So as it creates a vacuum, it pulls the contaminants in, and the contaminants have to go through the water before the air can go out the other side. So what happens is the dust that is sucked up is deposited into the water and is kept inside the container. Now, usually your regular home vacuum cleaner, most of them won't have the proper filtration system to vacuum up drywall dust. And what'll happen is and also if you use your shop vac without a filter in it, it'll do the same thing. Sometimes your shop vacs are set up for wet only. So you have to make sure before you try to vacuum this stuff up, you have the proper vacuum cleaner. So this one uses water to filter. Make sure your shop vac has a filter in it. And also make sure it's got the proper filtration, that it won't cloud your house with dust. Because what will happen is with the drywall dust, if you try to suck this stuff up with the wrong filter, you will cover your house with this drywall dust. So here you have an option also. You can buy plastic sheeting and some blue tape. I use the blue tape. Excuse me. It doesn't have to be name brand. I don't know what the name brand is on that blue stuff. But you can get the plastic sheeting at the Dollar General store. Not the Dollar, not Family Dollar, the Dollar General store. There's a big difference there. And there's the cat Snuffy. So I've got them all wanting to be in the video this morning. Hey Snuff. So you can get the plastic sheeting at the Dollar General store for about, I think it's $1 actually. It's $1. So you can take that and blue tape, and you can seal your room up. Seal it off, top to bottom, and leave your access door. You can actually put another sheet of plastic on the inside of your access door. That way you can come and go, and the plastic can swing behind you. So you can do it that way. Seal the room off so that all the dust stays in the room. I would suggest doing that. I would really suggest doing that because this drywall gets really nasty. So you can seal the room off. Either way, you have to vacuum this dust up. And the more you vacuum this dust up, the better off your job will be. Because as you walk through this dust, you don't see it on your shoes, You think you track it through your house, it will be every footprint, everywhere you step in your house is going to be visible in your house. So you have to make sure that you vacuum this stuff up regularly. Make sure that your vacuum cleaner is set up to vacuum this stuff. You have to have the correct filter, or you have to have the correct vacuum. With that said, let's get on with the rest of the job. We'll get back to the videos that I shot last week. Clean everything up in between the steps. Like I say, I'm probably a little bit compulsive about it, or obsessive about it, but it works for me, and I think it is probably works for everybody that way. One thing I wanted to note was I got up this morning and wanted to feel the air outside, so I turned on the air conditioning. No, excuse me. I opened up the new screen doors that I installed. I wanted to feel the outside air, so I pulled down the screens, the doors that I installed, and see what kind of day it is out there. Kind of overcast, rained all night, real humid. The temperature feels pretty good, so I wanted to feel that temperature outside, and I opened up the screens. That was a bad idea. I had forgotten that anytime you're going to be doing any painting or drywall work, it's better to not have that humidity in the house. So I shut everything up, closed everything up, and put the temperature so that the air conditioning will come on. And I have a Nest thermostat, so I can do that just by commands with my voice. We might go over putting that in sometime, how I installed that. Everything in the house is controlled by voice. All the lights and switches in the house are controlled by voice. For instance, okay Google, turn off computer lights. So the lights turn off. Okay Google, turn computer lights on. And that's the switch here. Anyway, that would be another time, go over how all that stuff works. But what I wanted to say was make sure you close things up, get the house as dry as you can get it, and when you run the air conditioning, that pulls water out of the air actually. That's part of how it cools, is taking humidity out of the air. So that will dry up the air and help the paint and the drywall to dry out so that you can work it. And I'm using just a cheap little sanding block. It's 220 grit. Just trying to smooth it out. Mostly work from the inside out. And any other big issues while I'm down here. that I missed yesterday. And changes with the light. These walls will change all day as the sun comes through, as you get a glare off the walls. And it'll change from flat and satin paints onto semi-gloss. You'll get a different look. This has been covered up with, looks like a semi-gloss. Semi-gloss tends to show all mistakes. So I'm going to cover it with a satin, which is a little better. I would go flat, but flat will get dirty and I won't be able to clean it. And unfortunately, I have a cat who causes messes on the walls that I have to clean off every day. But again, this is just a 220 grit sand block. It's reversible, washable. You can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's. I think they're $2. That's what I use. And I use regular drywall mud. I think it's a quick patch type. I'll look that. Okay, a couple things I've missed. I need to go over with you guys. Wiped the walls down, finished up the sanding, ran the vacuum cleaner, and even after running the vacuum cleaner, wiped the walls down with a microfiber towel, and the towel's covered in dust. And it's critical that you get that dust off of there. What happens is it's just a small amount of dust on the walls, but the roller picks that up and it gets caught up in the paint and it gums the paint up. First of all, I've done jobs early when I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know why the paint was gumming up so bad. Well, it was picking up all this dust, this drywall dust that was left on the walls, and it was gumming the paint up. What happens is that gum and all the little pieces that come off of the drywall that you put on the wall, it comes off, gets caught up in your roller, and it destroys the wall. That's why I'm doing these walls right now, is to get all of those inconsistencies and all of those unlevel spots and all of the little pieces that the prior owner left all over the walls. He did the same thing. He rolled the walls and whatever dirt was on there, he picked it up and rolled it, and it's been stuck on the walls since. So that's why I'm doing this job, is to get all of that dirt and all of those particles off the walls, get a good smooth job, consistent, and gives it an overall good clean appearance. The total effect when you address all of those little spots, when you get all those little dents and dings and all those little particles off the wall, the overall effect is what you're going for. I can't fix, and you won't be able to fix all the bad spots in your walls, but if you get a big portion of them, the overall effect is pretty amazing most of the time. But wipe everything down with a microfiber towel when you get done. Wipe it down good. You may even want to vacuum it up again. Sometimes there's enough left on the walls, you got to vacuum the floors again. It's covered in dirt again that you've brushed off. So now I used one thing. Now is the time you want to make sure that we're getting ready to paint. You want to make sure that everything's off the walls, everything's out of the way, so that whatever form that you're going to use to put the paint onto the wall, whether it's a roller, a brush, a pad, or a sprayer, you want to make sure that everything is going to be able to touch the walls
and not be obstructed. So you want all your wall plates off. You want, for instance, this grate. The last person that did this, I think it's been done many times. It has 3 or 4 different colors of paint on it. So this is a glue-on grate. This house is, I think, 70 years old. So whenever this grate was put on there, people have been painting over it without taking it off, without cleaning it. Whatever hair was in it, they just painted over. So it's very easy. I used the utility knife, and I cut the grate, cut all the years of paint off, and it was just glued on, so it came right out. The grate came right out. Took it outside, took a utility knife, scraped all of the 75 years of hair off of it, and got it generally clean. I washed it with a water hose. Got as much of the built up hair that I could off. That's most of it. And I'm going to use a spray paint. I'm going to spray paint this. You can't really do this with a brush. It would just be such a nasty job, and that's what we're trying to fix. It's nasty jobs like this. So I'm going to spray this with some Krylon or something, some spray paint. Just some household paint you can get at Walmart, $2. So that's one thing you need to address is grates and things like that that'll be in the way of your roller or your brush. Now, I need to address the vacuum cleaner, because if you don't have the correct filter in your shop vac and you turn it on, it's going to blow this tiny dust all over your house and all over your belongings. You'll be finding dust in your drawers. Drywall dust, and if you walk in it and walk to other parts of your house, you're going to track it everywhere. It's so small and so fine, it just tracks and goes everywhere. So you got to make sure you have the correct vacuum cleaner before you use it, and make sure that the brush you're using is correct, or you'll scratch your drywall up before you get paint on it. Now I know that my ends are soft horsehair, and I know that they won't damage the walls. That's why I use them. This is a rainbow unit, just a regular household vacuum cleaner, but this vacuum cleaner uses water to filter. It doesn't have a filter in it, doesn't have a bag. It's just that this tub is full of water, and the vacuum comes in the hose, and it has to go into the water. Anything heavy gets stuck in the water, and then the air comes out. So this will vacuum and filter out most drywall. Now I don't think this thing's rated for this, but I use it. I think it does a good job, and I think it's a good idea to use water to filter drywall dust. Now you got to make sure that your shop vac, your house vac, maybe if it has a HEPA filter. HEPA filters are generally used around hospital settings, things like that. But a lot of household vacuum cleaners use HEPA filters now. Another thing you probably should use, and we all know what this is now. This is an N95 mask. Probably, if you have one still, I don't know if you have one, they're hard to get nowadays. Everybody used to have these. Anybody that's done any home improvement, they've had these around the house. This is what home improvement people have used when we do drywall and stuff. N95 mask. If you have one, use it. If not, you probably have a homemade mask that you use to go outside now. That's fine. You got to do what you got to do. It'll filter out the drywall. But make sure your vacuum cleaner is capable of filtering before you turn that thing on. And I'm getting ready to turn the music on and get to this, because what I do the work that I'm going to do, and then as I take a break, I set up and do these shots and talk to you. But I encourage you, when you're working, have music going. It makes the day go faster. Makes for a better job. You can use Spotify, Pandora, whatever. Get the music going and blast it as much as you can handle, and blast it with whatever you like. Sometimes I finish the job up and I go, oh, now how am I going to listen to my music? I was listening to music. I don't want to stop. So it takes your mind off some of the tedious work, and makes it a little more enjoyable. ridiculous. I'm upset about this paint. This paint should not have separated like this. And because of that, I won't ever use Sherwin-Williams again. I checked another can down there, it's also Sherwin-Williams, and it did the same thing. I've used Behr paint since we moved in here. It's been about a decade. I have a can of paint, can of Behr, right over there, yellow. I bought on my birthday, October, in 2010. I opened that can of Behr, and it's still good. So I won't use this brand again. And I don't suggest that you use a lot of paint that's 10 years old, but I opened that just to see. And yeah, I don't think this paint should have done that. Also, you're probably looking at my attire and my clothing choices. That's one thing when you're doing home improvements. Be comfortable. Wear loose clothing that you can bend and stoop and move around comfortably. You don't have an audience. I might have an audience now, but you probably won't. And you should be comfortable. Make sure your clothing is just for home improvements. Set a group of clothing to the side and always wear that when you're doing your work. That way you get paint on your hands, you can wipe it on your shorts. Now don't jump in your car, because I've done that before. A few minutes after wiping my hands on my shorts, I jumped in the car and it got paint all over the seat. So be aware of that. But dedicate your clothing, my shoes, my shorts and shirt, and even my glasses, because your glasses will get destroyed doing this type of work. Dedicate some glasses just to doing this work. And honestly, you should be wearing safety glasses anyway, or goggles over top. I should. I know better, but I don't. But you will destroy your glasses if you do much of this work. So I'm going to continue to stir this paint. Here I've lost, a good hour messing with this paint. And I shouldn't. All right, a couple things here, guys. I'm getting ready to get started painting. I have the paint mixed up. I've taken everything off the walls. I wiped the walls down. I vacuumed, cleared all my space out so that I have a good clean work area. That's the wall I'm starting on. This stuff, I'm getting ready to move, but I'm not over in that area. I need to get all this stuff out of the whole work area. But what I wanted to show you was, for 20 years I've painted, and I've done a lot of painting. I've had numerous jobs that required me to paint, and I've had many jobs that I've done on the side so I've done a lot of painting, and I always resisted these types of things. I did everything with a brush, and I would laugh at people that used these, and I thought they always did I thought it would do a bad job. I cut everything in by hand because I can cut in with the paintbrush. I've painted enough that I can cut a straight line with a regular paintbrush. So I've always used just a paintbrush. And something happened recently, and I had to buy some of these. And I used one, and I couldn't believe it. I have wasted all this time on a paintbrush cutting a straight line in. I could cut a straight line, but when I went up back with a roller, you could always see my brush marks where I cut that in. I just thought that was part of the job. Well, when I use these, I could cut a straight line with these. And I didn't get brush lines. It was amazing. Unbelievable. So this is what I use now. I keep a brush handy to touch up any corners or anything, or whatever I might need a brush for. But I can work twice as fast. I can almost work faster with these than I can with a roller. In an area like this where I'm getting ready to do this white bottom part, and I can almost paint that quicker just by hand with one of these than I can with a roller. These things are amazing. You should give them a try. You have to get used to using them. I think the key to these are you load them up heavy, you push it down, you push these down in the paint. In a minute I'll show. You push these down in the paint so that the sponge part of them soaks up some paint, and then you drag them off. And then as you're using this, it'll start to get less and less paint on it, and then as you give it a little more pressure, you push, it comes out of the sponge part of it, and it kind of releases more paint. Now what I think is kind of remarkable about these things is they pretty much cut a straight line. You don't have to know how to cut a line in. These will do it for you. Now they have this is the cover to a plastic tool that you can get. I have the tool over there, and you get these throwaway covers, replacement covers, and you can just use these one time, throw them away. You can buy a set of them, or you can clean them out. They wash out pretty good. This is come out of the set. Then I found these. These are pretty much disposable. They have styrofoam on the back, and you can wash them also. If you want to wash them, you can wash them, but they're only like $1, and you can throw them out, and you don't have that cleanup. I know that's wasteful, but as inexperienced home improvements people, I would say, because most of you don't have a lot of extra time to do this, you're doing it on the weekends or at night, and it takes a lot of time to clean this stuff up. Not only that, it makes a big mess. You would destroy a sink in a kitchen area with the water that comes, the spray that comes off of these when you try to clean them. Brushes, everything. Me personally, some people don't like the issue with throwing this stuff away. Me personally, I think you should buy enough for a job, and because you don't, you're just doing your own home, throw this stuff away. It takes so much time to clean it. It makes such a mess. Buy the stuff that you can just throw away. Pan liners, buy pan liners. Buy a good set of brushes and a cheap set of brushes, and when you use the cheap ones, throw them away. Just throw them away. It's not worth the trouble trying to clean it up. Pan liners, just pull the pan liner out, throw it away. It's too hard to clean those things. Roller covers, throw them away. Make sure you have your job lined out so that when you get to the point where you do your rolling, and this is a fairly good roller cover here. This is for doing very smooth surfaces with flat or eggshell. Make sure that when you buy your roller cover, you buy it to match the paint that you're using. This is kind of a mid-line. I think this is like $4. Now I'm going to use this for one color. I'm going to use it for white, and I have a gray that's very light. I may use it on that gray, but at the end of the day today, this thing's going in the garbage. Too hard to clean, makes too much of a mess when you try to clean it up, and they just don't do well. They release the colors in them again, like if you do another job a week from now, and it's a light color, it'll release part of that color into your next job. Me personally, throw it all away. Throw it all away. You can keep this part of it,
throw the rest of it away. Throw these away, throw the panel liners away, throw the brushes away. Throw it all away. You're gonna save time. You're gonna make your job more enjoyable. Just throw it away.
So here's a good example of things that happen. As careful as I was cleaning this up and getting all the dust out of the way and wiping everything down and showing you guys how to do it, and I get to this point in my project and look at that. And the bad thing is my brush got into that stuff, so that means I have to clean it. If I don't, this whole area is going to be a wreck. So that's the kind of things that happen. You have to double check and double check, and you're still going to have things like this happen. It looks like this whole wall, nothing got done to it. I don't know how I missed it, but that's an example of things that happen. So let me get to that, and I'll continue on with the project. Okay, so it's another humid, rainy day outside today. So I have the air conditioner on, set it so it'll come on often. I have a fan that I have plugged in that I'm going to blow in this direction. Not directly on the project, but in the direction. It's very humid for me and things will dry better. I'm going to mix up a little bit of mud. Now this is pre-mixed mud, but you have to work it a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to apply some mud to some of the little small areas that we missed. Now some people talk about that that mud filler spackle. It's not mud, it's spackle. People call it spackle. It's for fixing little holes after you have a painting hung on a wall or something. Now spackle is very light, very light. It's very smooth, and what happens is if you try to use that for much of anything more than a nail head size, it just makes a bad job. It just makes a really bad job. It's too light, it's too smooth. If you were to try to use that to do a large area, it would immediately it would show. It would be too smooth, and it would work itself out real quickly. And a lot of times when you try to paint over it, the paint will actually pull it out. So I don't use that stuff on anything. I don't think it's good for anything. It just takes a little bit longer. If you're doing a project, you got time to put the correct product on it, let it dry. You'll have a much better job. Much better job. Now, we're going to take a look at what we're using here. What I'm using, this is dust control, so it's lighter than the other stuff too, but this is dust control sheetrock brand. That's all it is. It's just what they, drywall mud they call it. It's just in a small container. This is for making small repairs like we're doing. This is perfect for what we're doing. No need to buy a big bucket. No need to have a big, there's no reason to have a big bucket or a big bag of drywall around your house if you're just learning how to do this stuff and you're just doing small projects. This is all that you need. This is all that you need, and I think it was like $6. So now what I do with this, now this is a tool you could get by without it, but you could use a piece of cardboard or something, but I suggest that you get one of these. This is it's a mortar, they call it. I think it comes from that term, mortar and pestle. So this would be the mortar board. see like the old movies, the Italian artisans. They use these boards to put their mortar on the walls and to work it. I think bricklayers use it, masons use one kind of similar to this. But I would suggest buying one of these. You'll use it enough. It's worth the investment. It's not much, and it's perfect for what we're going to be doing. So making sure you're using the camera there. Let me get that shot a little better. Okay. And remember, I'm learning this stuff too. I don't know anything about recording this stuff, so I'm learning also, along with you guys. I'm learning along with you guys. For instance, my head is not in the shot right now. I probably shouldn't do that. But anyway, here we go. I pulled it out of the container. Now, we don't have much to do today. Taking care of most of the big stuff. We don't need a lot of this product today. So that's what I think I'm gonna work. And this stuff, this lightweight stuff, really, most any of it that I use, if I'm doing a joint, a corner joint or anything like that, I work it out. That's what I call it. I take my scraper and I spread it thin, and I pull it to, I don't see a lot of big bubbles. And some of it you have to do like this. And then scrape it off the edge. So the way I put it on the edge, and that cleaned my knife. Scoop the whole board. Spread it out flat again. Pull those bubbles out. Pull those bubbles out. Scrape it off the edge. Pull the bubbles out. Put it on the edge. Now I think I'm ready. So there I am. There's what I'm going to work with. That piece there. Clean my knife. Knife can just sit right there. When I need it, I'll grab it. Now, I also have, this is a wider blade knife that I can go over, and that spreads out, spreads the product out, spreads it out further to hide it. It makes a wider area, and then it gives you more area to sand, and it covers a larger area to hide the problem that you have. That's the whole point. We're not trying to hide this stuff. So here we go. I am going to see if I'm going to switch. All right. Okay, we will be right back. Okay, here's the grating. This is actually a air return vent for the heating and air conditioning. I don't think the thing's been taken out for many years, and we showed earlier when I took it out and cleaned it. But anyway, when I put it back, there's a gap, and we have to seal that gap up with some caulking. This is just painter's caulk, and we're going to seal the gap up that was left because we took all of that years of painting off of it. I painted it with spray paint, and I'm going to have to sand it and paint it again because this will happen a lot of times. This spray paint reacted with the spray paint that was under it. That caused this crackling. Sometimes that'll happen. I don't know a way of reducing that because we don't know what reacted. So sometimes you'll have that and you just have to sand it and redo it. Well, we're gonna caulk this gap. And then we're gonna let it dry. Doesn't take real long to dry. This stuff, this painter's caulk, it dries out pretty good, pretty quick. And remember to wear your gloves, and you can use your gloves to spread this stuff. Painter's caulk you can just spread with your finger, and then you can just wash it off. It's water soluble. And that's something to keep in mind also, is water soluble, because you don't want to use it on something that's going to get wet a lot. It'll wash it out. So I don't use it much around a kitchen or bathroom, but you can use it pretty much anywhere inside the house. And actually, sometimes you can smooth it down if you have too much, or if some of it dries where it's not supposed to. You can just use a wet rag and wipe it for a while, and it'll actually come off. But we're gonna let it dry. You can paint over it in about a half an hour, but I like to wait longer than that. And then we're gonna paint over it, and then I'm gonna sand this vent, repaint it, and this little area will be finished. And I don't know where that came from, but anyway, we'll hit that with the white paint when we have it out. So today we have a little bit better equipment. I have a tripod and a microphone. Should get some better shots than yesterday. It was difficult to try to get that stuff yesterday with just the camera phone and nothing else. So today we are going to go over the painting that did yesterday. Show you what, there's the wall we were working on, some of the walls we were working on yesterday. See, I changed the yellow to gray. Turned out pretty nice. The yellow got a fresh coat. The white got a fresh coat. Going up the stairs got a fresh coat. That's like a brown color there. And but the white, let me switch angles here. See if I can switch the angle here. Anyway, what we're going to do is let me get a spot where we can see the white better. And we have spots that have come back. It's the gray color of the drywall mud has came through. So the white's going to require another coat in some areas. Everything else is pretty good. So some of these areas are going to require another coat on the white. Can't with this light, I really can't get a good shot of it, but trust me, it needs the gray of the drywall mud has shown through, so we're gonna have to redo that. But starting off, we are going to, while I have the white out, I have the top of the door frame. And you see I have the blue tape there. I have it marked off. I have it masked off because there's a metal hardware in this door that is silver. And I don't want that to get paint on it. You get paint all over something, that's where you get a bad job. When you get paint where it's not supposed to be, that's where you get a bad job. So I'm going to paint that. It's been like that since I installed this pocket door. You see this door It's called a pocket door for y'all that don't know. I know some of you know, but some don't. It's a pocket door. Problem was this room here. It's a small room, and this door opened in, so you can only use about a quarter of this. A quarter of this room was cut off from the door. So when we put the door into the wall, we gained so much usable space inside this small little room. Now this is a bigger job than what most of you will be getting into. These videos are based on people that are going to be doing smaller jobs. I don't think anybody watching this is ready to get into that. I did it myself, but even for me, it was a pretty big job. This whole wall, the whole wall had to come down. This wall had to come down all the way over to there, all the way over to the corner there. The wall had to come down, and that we had to move the thermostat, and the TV had to be taken down, and this whole wall had to come out, and this pocket door becomes part of the structure of this room, but it added a lot to the room. But for now, what we're working on is that area there that I didn't ever paint, and that's that. Okay, well, what we're looking at there, that is the first little divot that we're going to work on. Well, as happens many times with these projects, we went a little further than a weekend. As you can see, I'm editing all the footage that I already have for the first episode. The project went a little longer because the walls were, once I got to paint the new color on the walls, a lot of inconsistencies showed up. The walls were much rougher than I had anticipated. So it was the perfect time to just go ahead and make sure I did it right. I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't going to put the new color on, go through all that work, and not get it right. So I applied more of the joint compound, and had to wait for that to dry. So that would stretch the job out further than a weekend. So I decided to end the video here and start a new episode, and that would be the completion of the job, because that's what would happen in your real timeline. If you were doing this job, you would maybe quit on a Sunday night, apply the joint compound, and then on the Friday night, when you could get back to it, you would start sanding that joint compound off and applying the new paint. So that'll be in the next episode. And like I say, I'm busy now editing this first one. There's a lot more to it than I thought. I do think the next episode will be much better. I think the shots will be better. I think the editing will be better. Hopefully I'll stop saying So stick with me. In the coming weeks, we're gonna work on a riding lawnmower. We're going to work on a push mower. We're going to change the belts we're going to change the drive belts and also the blade belts, the deck belts on a riding mower. We're going to service the engine. All these are things you can do yourself. You don't have to pay somebody to do it. They're very easy. And for instance, the next job, working on the lawnmowers, basically it requires 3 tools. It's very easy to do. Just need a little bit of encouragement. I'll walk you through it. You could run the video on your phone. While you're doing it, you could have the
You can have your video running right next to it. Me, as you're doing it, I'll walk you through it. It's really, really easy. So stick with me. Like, share, and subscribe. I need to get awareness out there, and I need to put out some content. So stick with me; it'll get better, and I hope to really help you with a lot of your projects. We'll see you next time.